If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
When you have a salary cap, it means there's no depth. You can't have players sitting behind big number players who are also big number players, so that it forces rookies to play too fast. So you've got rookies pushed into service who really ought to be sitting learning on the bench from talented veterans.
And good teams try to make them special teams players, for the most part.
But, you know, you have a big quarterback who really ought to be sitting on the bench as a rookie learning, or a tackle who ought to be learning in the old-time football. And right now they're playing, and all their weaknesses are exposed, and their confidence gets crushed. Second of all, you don't have any depth, so that behind your A-plus offensive tackle is a C-minus
at best
veteran or a rookie. And so when that first player gets hurt, the second player is really got problems. And the team has problems because the drop-off in talent is so precipitous. That's another difficulty. Third, the long-term career that used to take place between a player and a team now is imperiled. So you get all this movement occurring that wouldn't occur otherwise. In other words, you would have players, a player would stay with the Ravens for his whole career.
But we've had that now. I mean, we're a different kind of franchise. We had Ogden, Ray Lewis, and there's no saying that Ray Lewis may not play 1 year in Pittsburgh when it's all over.
But my point is, in the old days, if a player was slightly less productive and he had another year left on his contract, a team would keep him, even though he might be a little bit over-salaried. Now, if he's over-salaried, gone.
Well, the Steel Curtain and those guys, I would understand that they managed to keep those teams together. The Ravens have been the biggest victim of drafting well, losing so many players that they just couldn't afford to keep. But there's also a part where the Ravens are a small market team, kind of bunched in Baltimore, where we wouldn't have the kind of economic wherewithal to maybe keep a Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis would have played in New York 7 or 8 years ago if New York, like in baseball, could have a $220 million payroll, and the Ravens would have to toe the line and say, we've only got $120 million.
Well, even though there are differentials in markets, and more than there used to be, because there are differentials in luxury boxes, naming rights, and marketing, still they share the major revenue source, which is national television equally. And in baseball they don't, because in baseball the major revenue source is local TV, and that's not shared. So it will never be the same as baseball. It will never be as big a discrepancy as there is in baseball. But having said all that, I love one thing about the salary cap. Even though both sides dislike it, it is a system they can agree to, and it keeps peace. It keeps both sides agreed, and we play the games, and we don't have labor stoppages. So what I'm telling you is that at the end of the day, owners have franchises that back in 1976, when I was just beginning, $16.5 million is what Seattle and Tampa Bay cost. And today, $1 billion is the average franchise price. $2 million is what each team made in national television revenue back in the 76. Today it's $120 million. This sport is doing very, very well. And if we open up the genie's bottle of renegotiating every single part of this collective bargaining agreement, it'll never close up again. So we ought to leave this well enough alone.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.